welcome to Common Soulution. I'm your host, Jasper Rodenhuis. Today I'm gonna talk about adaptability because it's something that speaks to me personally in this life situation that I'm in right now. Coming back from my travels for the last couple of 5 months, having to adapt to many different situations. Also been traveling before that in Peru for a time where I met a lot of my guests, and in between coming back here in the Netherlands and having to reintegrate. So I've learned a lot about this faculty, and it's something that you can see in the way people live in Peru as well. In contrast to what we how we live here in the West, because here in the West we are very idealistic. We want society to be a certain way, and this is echoed in a lot of people that are quote unquote spiritual and see that there's something wrong with our society, and they have a certain ideal of how it should be, and they live accordingly to this. But is this a static view? That's the question. And really, like, if you have an ideal, there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's balanced with realism. And this is something that I have to balance out now currently, where I have to sacrifice a lot of my ideals and have to integrate myself into society to finally be able to live towards these ideals that I do think that are important to bring into society. But if I don't sacrifice, if I don't meet people where they're at, I don't make this compromise, now people will not hear me, because it's something that goes both ways. It's not just coming from me, but I also have to listen to other people and what they need. So what your ideal has to be adapted to is your environment, to what people require, and that changes from time to time. But there are some commonalities that lie underneath for sure. Um, Ideally, we should live more harmonious, not just with each other, but also with nature itself. There's a lot of problems that we are facing. I talked about this in the previous common solution, naturality, where we're having a lot of problems with nature and how we're abusing nature to catch its resources. So it's a swift shift in mentality. But I often thought that once people are spiritual, quote unquote spiritual, and they would recognize that there's more to life than just the physical, then all would be well, and we would recognize our place in the universe, and we would act accordingly. But I see a lot of spiritual people. Well, I call them spiritual people. You can call them hippies. There's not really a word to really speak about these people, but people that are going are all off the grid. Well, there are more and more people trying to get away from society and going off the grid currently, because there's a lot of fear, and that's a key point here, because a lot of people are driven by fear. They want to go off the grid and just hide away and just be done with it. Like, I completely get that, because society is also trying to grip in and trying to control the situation. When what can be controlled, really? What can be controlled? Well, I think the only thing that we control is ourselves, and becoming wiser individuals and working together as a collective to make a crucial change. But this requires that we surrender. We might have to surrender certain ideas that we have and listen to what other people have to say. So it's all context based, like, there are certain situations where your ideas should be implemented, but in other situations you should sacrifice your ideas. So it's depending on what your idea is, and is it fluctuating? Is it static? Is it still sticking on to the old ways of seeing the world? Or are you listening enough to what people are needing? A lot of people are pointing fingers. They're saying that guy is the problem. He should work on himself. You should do this. You should do that. But never the finger is pointing back, and that's where change occurs. Today is a day that we're voting, and we all have a chance to vote for our country here in the Netherlands. And a lot of people do that. Some people vote on certain parties that are, I don't know, have some good points, and they want to make this world a more free world. Oh, it sounds so very beautiful idea. Oh man, we should vote for that. But then reality kicks in, and they have to compromise with other people that have many different views, and the reason why you voted on that party isn't that much brought into it, because people are focusing, they're voting on things that they believe. Like, I think education is important, for example. So I vote on a party that is uh, representing this, and another is like doing something for agriculture, for example. So people are only voting for what the best is for them instead of what is best for all of us. So we need to shift from perspective to this, and really like makes me, like it boils me up, because it's like such a shift in this perspective, and it's really important that we recognize that we are in this together. We all suffer in the end. Sure, there's some elite that see the benefit of this whole situation, and you can point fingers at them, and sure, they have their responsibility to play as well, for sure. But what were we doing? What am I doing? Well, if I speak about myself personally, this is why I started this podcast, is to get my perspective out there, and not just my perspective, but many people that I bring on. And I cannot say to everyone, just come on to my podcast, because I have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of possibilities, and there are some certain requirements to get on the podcast. But besides that, there's many opportunities that you can get your voice out there. And we have a Discord channel, you can come on there. For now, no one has joined yet, which is fine, because it will grow eventually. And if it's not, I'm totally not attached to the result. It's if there's a need, it will grow, and if not, then I will focus my energy on something else. And I have many different outlets that I focus my energy upon. And I'm not gonna present myself as you should just follow me. I am a perfect example of being adaptable, and at the same time having a certain ideal that we should follow. But I think we should more balance this out, because if we have only an ideal, we're not listening to other people. We're just, this is how it should be. Follow me, follow me. This is this. We're gonna make this like that, and that's why I called it the Soulution. We have to do it fucking together. We have to do it together. Like people are like, they're forcing things upon it, and they're not listening to each other. They want to be right, and that's the thing about a lot of conspiracy movements as well, is that there's such a polarity. And I get it. We have to make a decision to take the vaccine or not, or what is in this vaccine. No one asked that, but well, there are some people that are asking that. But I think that's the most important thing, was look at particular situations, and what's really, and what way can we best adapt. It might not, like a lot of conspiracy theories say, oh, you're gonna die from the vaccine. That's a harsh statement. Can you back that up? Well, which vaccine are you talking about? There's many different vaccines. Not in every case a person dies. So in what cases are people dying from the vaccine? So people are yelling all these things, and they want to be right, and they want to be heard. But I think we should be more humble. I don't know about this whole situation. There's a certain point of relevancy here about the corona pandemic, but at the same time, what is potentiality? What can we bring forward from this whole situation? In the Linda, I can link this in, but there's a certain statement in there where it is said as well that we just have to focus on being wiser individuals, because this will speak not only to any pandemic, but it will speak to all situations, and that should be our focus. I think it should be our focus, at least. But when people just want to be right, or they have the best way that the world should bend towards, but that's the reason why we have two ears and only one mouth. We should listen and observe, and hopefully we can get into an insight that is valuable in sharing. I'm not wanting to be a politician myself, because I don't believe that change will occur that way. And a lot of my ideals are actually focused into my book, and I'm presenting it just as a perspective, but I'm not forcing it on anyone who isn't ready to receive or to change their views about the world. And I'm always listening to people that have feedback, not just about the book, but also about the podcast and about anything that I do, because I do hold this assumption that maybe I'm not right. I used to think in like conspiracy things that's totally the truth. It's all a conspiracy. People are working against us, but there's also the other side where there's a positive structure in society. Are we totally neglecting this at the same time? I think we should see both sides. We should see reasons why we shouldn't take the vaccine. We should see reasons why we should take the vaccine, and through this we can balance out our brains and can hear multiple perspectives and be more eclectic in our presentations of representation of reality in our mind. Like we're trying to figure things out. It's not working that a lot of things in our on the internet is getting censored. That's a fortunate thing, and I really stand against that. It's not a risk to do the podcast on YouTube with all the censorship and stuff, but I'm just hiding in plain sight, like it's the best thing to do. And I don't want to be right. I'm not saying to people you shouldn't take the vaccine. I'm not saying you should take the vaccines. I should say that people should be informed about their decisions, and this current paradigm that we have with our democracy, if I might call it a democracy, is not very fitting because most people they don't get well educated about all the problems that our world is facing, and more importantly, is the problems that is arising within themselves. Are they ready to confront that? Are they looking towards themselves in compassion towards themselves and others, or is this just they're seeing like, okay, this is a problem that I have in my life, like I cannot find a job, for example, so there's a politician that says, yeah, we're going to get more job for this field. Oh, I'm going to vote on that, but is that really how positive change occurs? I think it's more like I'm more in line in what Bly is saying, is that it's all integral. We're all piecing each other together. We're like a piece, like we're all figuring things out. I'm sharing my perspective. I'm open to hear your perspective. It might sound like I'm pretty confident in what I believe, but I mean, like these couple of days were actually pretty hard for me and pretty difficult to find a new way to orient, because I was actually hoping to be off the grid as well, actually, just to be next to nature and close to nature and just working there, not worry about all these things, just having more of a simple life. But for some type of reason, something drew me back. I'm gonna do the university on Jungian psychology next year and become a therapist and still work within society, but it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not this easy for me, but it's not easy for many people. And this includes, that's why I'm talking about adaptability. I have to adapt to society and surrender a lot of my ideals. And it doesn't mean you have to throw it out the trash and thereby doesn't carry any value. Like, I'm just gonna keep it back of my mind, but I'm open. Like I think Maz, he said this very beautiful. I'm gonna have a talk with him soon, but again about this, like offline then. But we have to give the benefit of the doubt, because we don't know. We do not know. We'd like to believe that we know, but in actuality, especially if we're talking about this corona pandemic, I I see I see many documentaries where people are just saying, "Yeah, I'm a doctor, don't take the vaccine. I'm a doctor, don't take the vaccine." Then there's other people saying, "I'm a doctor, take the vaccine." And where's the argumentation? I'm missing that. I'm not gonna base my decision just based upon your authority. It's an appeal to authority, and in philosophy we call that a fallacy. Um, but I think we should just be humble in our way of thinking and give the benefit to the doubt to society, because it's a very complex world that we're living in. That's something that once you're getting older, you realize that how complex these situations actually are. And there's many things that I'm currently saying and speaking about that I'm missing a lot of facts on, a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and I'm aware of that. So I'm keeping it open, and that's the thing. I'm learning a lot. I've done years of research on many different topics for 12 years, but it only tells me that I don't know shit, and there's many things still to learn for me. So if you read one book and you think you know it all, maybe it's better not to think at all. But many people, they did give you like that's my struggle with this conspiracy movement is they give you a whole package on this is the way it is, and if you're gonna put forward one question towards me, then you're part of this whole elite agenda. And that's the whole reason why I was drawn to conspiracy in the first place, because I was asking a lot of questions about society that government and the media wasn't addressing. So some answers that was presented to me, which sounded more logical, were presented in the conspiracy movement. But now I'm noticing even there that it's very dogmatic, and if I ask questions there, the people reject me because I'm not in agreement with what they're saying, and they want to be with agreeable persons, and that's what we call like-minded people. But we're all like-minded. We're all in this together. Eventually, we're all like-minded. Sure, I have very different views from many different people, and I don't really like to be in a group-thinking person because I differ from many views that, and also share a lot of views with people. But ultimately, I recognize I'm a social person, and this requires me to be adaptable and maybe surrender in certain ways, some old ways, and be like water. That's just like Bruce Caesar. Be like water, you know. Put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Be like water, like it crashes and it flows. And thing about flow is as well, we shouldn't be static in our views. You know, we're always learning, we're always challenging, we're always finding new things out about life, and that's the beauty. Like, if there should be one advice that I would give to everyone is contemplate the mystery of life, because life is a very, very big mystery, and I can try to figure things out. I've done meditation and pilgrimages, and went to Peru for this reason, and writing a book and documentaries, many different things. But still, there's some things that are revealed to me, and especially the experiences is something that I cannot step away from because it's just profound. It's incredible. But at the same time, I'm recognizing that if I speak to somebody else, they give me some insights like, whoa, I didn't know about that. Really make me think about certain matters. So I would say, like, if people only recognize that we're in this together, and it doesn't matter if you're carrying the labels being spiritual or quote unquote your material, these are all distinctions that put us all separate, and believing that we're all separate, and thereby we're objectifying people. We're saying they're like this, but do we really know who they are? Do we even know who we are? I don't know. I truly I don't know. People want to hear only to people that say that they know, and then present them a whole package of a narrative that is fitting to what they believe. But truth is a discovery. It's a process. Life is a process. It's a constant unfolding of different situations, and only if we become humble, many things will be revealed to us. And many people that I learn the most from my enemies, well, quote unquote my enemies, because they show me things that I don't want to hear. But they're there, they're part of this reality, so they actually have the most valuable insights for me to learn, because I'm rejecting it, and I shouldn't reject any part of myself, because it's all the integration process. We're all in this shit together. Hopefully people will recognize this and listen to each other. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with each other. If you're against the vaccine, for the vaccine, don't let yourself be polarized. Just listen and sometimes get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think you're gonna die from the vaccine. I don't think you're gonna die from the virus. I don't even believe that exists, because it's all just a transformation, just from moment to moment, from day to day. We are stepping into something new, and this is the beauty of life. And people are attached themselves of being their bodies, and once they're dead, there's no self-concept, and they're holding on to the static idea, this is who I am, and this is what's is being confronted. So adapt to new situations, please, if you please, because I don't know. I think silence is in the end the best answer. So let me end with that. and hope you are stepping towards wisdom. And this is also just a monologue towards anyone listening to this, but also to myself, because it's something that I need, and I like to live. Well, I don't like it, but I need to live from necessity, from the basement of a necessity, because what is needed. Instead of saying what I want, I don't want to be vaccinated. I don't want. I don't want to die. All these desires. Instead, focus on what do we need. What do we need in these current times? And I think we need to come together. And where do we come together? Well, on a common ground. That's why it's called common underground. Unfortunately, the media is trying to divide us. It's not just the media, but also the conspiracy movement and many other people are still seeking division, because that's the old paradigm that we were attaching ourselves to. And maybe for some people that seems more comfortable to really hold on to this division, because then at least they have a contrast. They can see, okay, this is what I am and this is what I'm not. But in the end, we're all everything. It's all us. It's all us. So, that's the truth. Eternal love. And by that's the truth, I mean the silence. What I'm saying is just a perspective, and take it as you may. I hope it's been helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe. There's some pretty interesting discussions, dialogues coming. Something that is why I'm also not voting is because it's all centered around debate, and debate creates hate. Debate creates division because one is right and the other is not, and there's two separate points of understanding the situation. And with inquiry, just there's just a question and a continuation of question, and trying together to understand what is happening, instead of this is what I believe, this is what you believe, I don't agree with that. It's very static. It's not in a continuing flux like life is. So I think that's why I chose the dialogue, because it's just life is a dialogue, and there's a dialogue in here between our two hemispheres. But I should also mention not everything goes towards speech. There's messaging that goes beyond words. But if we're communicating with each other, I hope it's a dialogue and not a debate, because that's only feeds the division. Let me guys think of what you think about that, about adaptability, being able to adapt to new situations. What are some situations that you need to adapt to right now? Give me some feedback if you feel like it. I'm really open to hear that. I want to be engaged with you guys and what you guys think, because I can hear myself rambling on about many different topics, but I just want to learn about life just as well. I want to teach about it. Yeah, like I said, like and subscribe. If you feel like it, you can donate. I really appreciate that. It would help me out with many different things, because now I have to work for things that I don't really completely step behind, like charity work. It's more like, but I don't know if that's the real solution that our society needs. But yeah, I'm living here in society, and I have to adapt. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So be humble and gonna love again.